Hey everyone, Andrew Farr here, Managing Editor of Water Finance Management. And welcome back to another edition of Water Finance Management Conversations. Today we're going to continue the discussion a little bit on transmission main monitoring. I know this is a topic that we have touched on already this year, and I have a great guest to help me expand on this topic. Asha Budhlall is a product manager at Mueller. She specializes in potable water pipe assessment and monitoring technologies. She has a lot of experience in operations and product management. So Asha, really looking forward to talking with you a little bit today on this topic. One question that's been on my mind that I think would be a good starting point for us, I know a lot of times when we talk about pipe monitoring and especially things like leak detection and non-revenue water, we seem to be focused on the distribution system. And of course, that's hugely important. We all know that. And so for our discussion today, we are going to talk a bit more on transmission mains. And I'm wondering if there's been any sort of a shift in the industry that you've noticed. Are utilities being a bit more proactive with their transmission mains? Just wondering if you could give us your thoughts on that to start us off.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. We certainly have seen a strong desire from utilities and a stronger interest in being more proactive with transmission main management and monitoring. And I like to put this in respective to failure on transmission mains. So in fact, distribution pipes fail 5 times more than transmission mains. So there are more leaks on distribution systems. But the consequence of failure on transmission mains can be pretty significant. So if I look back at there was a study in 2007 with the Water Research Foundation. They noted an average failure of about $1.7 million for transmission pipes. In 2024, that would be roughly 2.6 million in today's dollars. And in other studies, we've seen, increases in costs go up to in the tens of millions. So while the failure rates are lower, the consequences are quite high. And what we're seeing a lot in the news as well, especially this year, is quite a few catastrophic failures happening on transmission mains, causing significant disruption and making it a real challenge for utilities to manage their infrastructure.
I want to ask you a little bit about smart technology and IoT integration. Now, of course, we know that these are sort of buzz terms across the industry, but how is the technology evolution changed the landscape of condition assessment and leak detection? Are you seeing a change in the way utility crews approach this in the field? Can you discuss that at all?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll start with just describing what historical methods were. So for utilities that still have been largely reactive, they wait for issues and anomalies to come to them. I was talking with a utility the other day who has a critical transmission main running through a farming field area. And what he says is that the cows find the leaks before we do. And so that's not the best approach for finding leaks. And of course, in more disruptive events, we've seen more catastrophic failures causing more disruption. So as utilities have started to become more proactive with managing their transmission mains, we've seen a lot of utilities adopt survey technologies. These can be extremely effective, but they do also come with a bit of a tedious component. And of course, they only offer a snapshot. And so with the inclusion of smart technologies and more fixed solutions specifically, we've seen there's probably 3 main benefits that we've seen coming from these. The first being earlier detection of anomalies. And this allows utilities on site to have an easier time repairing on their own schedule. And this is done effectively because we're finding things earlier as they form before they can potentially become majorly disruptive. Second, we've seen an increase in efficiency. So overall, with smart technologies, it's enhanced the effectiveness of utilities operations on site by giving them more insight and more offerings in areas that perhaps they would not have been able to address previously. And the last one, and this is the big one for smart technologies, is scalability. So utilities are now able to manage large networks efficiently with the limited resources, because as we know, that is a strong concern for the industry with resourcing today. And I'll close with that saying the result of a lot of these updates and enhancements has been that utilities are able to better mitigate risk, especially where their pipes are approaching the age or at the age where they would typically fail. So for a lot of utilities, on average, they'll see pipes failing around the age of 53 years. And in fact, about a third of the pipes in North America are 50 years or older. And so risk mitigation becomes really important, especially with transmission pipes near critical infrastructure. So think of hospitals, airports, near large events, etc. And so this is where we've really seen the value of smart technology becoming even more necessary for utilities to manage their systems today and going forward.
Yeah, of course. And I think all of those areas you mentioned are critical when you consider what we mentioned at the beginning about these transmission mains. The cost component with repair is greater, although it may be a bit more infrequent. So I think all those points are critical. So I want to switch gears here and ask you now about what Mueller has been working on in this space, in this area of transmission main monitoring. Can you discuss a little bit about what you've been working on?
Yeah, certainly. And I'll give you first a quick recap of what we've been doing over the last 2 decades or so. Is we continue to provide and improve on solutions for transmission mains, including the non-invasive acoustic condition assessment, but also pipeline monitoring, specifically for leak and pressure. And so our latest iteration is the release of our next generation leak monitoring solution for large diameter pipes, and it's called AquaSure TX. And so this is just launched this year. So we're really excited to share this with the industry. And it's leveraging again our 10 years of fixed leak detection experience and then about 8 years of specifically transmission main experience. It uses acoustic sensors to identify where leaks are along a pipe. It's that acoustic correlation that the industry loves. And then it leverages some cutting edge data processing tools, but also in addition with data experts to offer insights. So it's helping utilities find leaks in as little as a day potentially, and helping them to be more proactive with finding and fixing earlier. So we're excited to build on that and share that more with utilities in the industry.
Asha, it's been great talking to you for a couple of minutes today, getting all your perspective on this. I want to ask you a final question here, which I think will help us recap a couple of points. What role do you think utilities should play in driving these advancements in technology? Obviously, Mueller has a long history of working in this space, but how do the utilities really drive the needed advancements and the evolution in the technology? And as sort of a part two to that, what do you see as the next step? What is, what's coming in the future for pipeline monitoring, particularly when it comes to these large diameter assets?
Yeah, I love this question. And so for utilities, I think they've got a really strong role to play in here. They are ultimately the users for a lot of these technologies. And so I always recommend being very clear with communicating the priorities for your team, whether it be ease of use, for example, or speed or accuracy. Be very clear about that because that drives how tools are developed and improved on. I'd also say when evaluating technologies, set very clear success criteria. This is how you ensure that a particular technology is meeting the needs of your team. And lastly, for utilities, it can be a bit of a whirlwind with the various technologies that are in the industry today. And so I deeply encourage utilities to look for references, talk to other friends in the industry, other utilities, find out what they're doing and figure out what their experience has been like, to find the best solution for them overall. And all of this leads into additional advancements in how technologies can be more impactful for those utilities. So we will continue to see advancements in data processing tools. AI is certainly one of them. It's really buzzy right now. Everybody's got a version of artificial intelligence in their solution, and that will continue. But With that, I would also say that there are greater and possibly even more exciting gains to be had from using new physical insights, and some of this can come from utilities, to form the next generation of development in algorithms, in how we use technology and advanced processing to better provide insights. And so that emphasis actually back on the human component paired with technology becomes even more impactful for developing tools, both for monitoring and also for condition assessment. This will help drive more insight on results on large data sets, and potentially more data integration as well with multiple inputs. So there's a lot of exciting things coming along, and I think as long as we continue to be clear on what our users need, specifically utilities, we'll continue to see more improvement with smart technology.
Asha, thanks again for joining us today. It's been a pleasure getting all your insight and perspective on this topic. We really enjoy talking to you.
It's great. Thank you, Andrew.
And that'll do it for another edition of Water Finance Management Conversations. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time.
Subscribe to Water Finance and Management's YouTube page and visit waterfm.com for the latest water industry news and insight.